there tends to be a lot of disputes in this area is that perhaps in this area more than any other is that there's a lack of contractual documentation. Many times the instructions come off the back of a quote, and a very basic quote at that. So what can then happen is further down the line, many disputes can arise in terms of things like, well, what was agreed, prices, timeframes. So you can already see the amount of disputes that arise sort of as you get further down the line. And we act, as I say, for the builders and the homeowners. So we can see sort of both sides of the argument effectively. But one of take by way of an example, is that you as a homeowner instruct a builder to build an extension. The builder comes in, does some work, and you form an opinion, you think this builder's just not good enough. You then say to the builder, I'm not happy with the work, or I've seen there's a number of problems. The builder says, well, first things, I'll remedy it, or I'll deal with snags at the end of the matter. So if the builder then goes and remedies some of these alleged defects, the homeowner then turns around and says, well, actually, I still don't think you're up to the job. I don't want you to return to site. What you tend to find is the homeowner, the tenant, whoever's instructed them, hasn't contemplated that they've actually entered into a contract with the builder. They think the work hasn't been done to standard, therefore I'm entitled to effectively sack him off site. But what the situation you can then end up in is that you've unlawfully terminated the contract. The said builder is, for instance, banking on being at that property for the next, say, 3 months. He then is in a situation of not having any work for the next 3 months. So the homeowner then puts himself in a situation of potentially a claim being brought against them, which, as I said earlier, isn't often contemplated. So there's difficulties sort of both ways effectively. But take then in terms of the homeowner, they think themselves in terms of they want to bring a claim against the builder. They often don't want to live in a building site forever. So they go instruct another builder. This other builder comes in, does the work, completes the work, in some instances rectifies some work. Said homeowner then wants to claim that money back, and they think it's very straightforward, which often it isn't. The difficulty they then have is, in many instances, that the evidence isn't there. They're trying to say that the implied terms of the contract in relation to the work being carried out to a reasonable standard, they're trying to say that that's effectively been breached. But what evidence is there? Because often they just get the new builder in, the work's just rectified and completed. There isn't that evidence there, and they'll often come and say, well, here's the second builder. He's criticised, or he says this work isn't to standard, but is a court going to find that that's an independent view? Because this second builder effectively has a financial incentive of saying, well, yeah, this work isn't good enough, because at the same time they're quoting, they want that work. So that's often one of the difficulties. And what we tend to find is that people aren't thinking about this, and they think they've got a dead cert claim, when often not only don't they have evidence in support of the claim themselves, they're often open to a claim being brought against them.